righty. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the 6th episode of Doug's Dugout for Season 4. And once again, in the co-hosting chair, we've got Mr. Doug Blunt. Doug, welcome back.
Glad to be back. How's it going, Danny? And everybody
Pretty
out
good.
there in baseball land.
Pretty good. Hey, I've got some good news for you. We're going to get our
What's
first
that?
cold front next week. We're going to be in the 50s.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. Really?
Yep. Winter is coming early to South Texas. Could you
How long
believe
is that going to last? Like,
Couple
how
of
long
seconds.
is that going to last? Couple seconds? Just in time for us to load up the car and go to Minnesota.
I'm telling you, you're not going to suffer in that game. That means it's going to be either the 60s, maybe the 70s. Is that going to be an afternoon game or a night game?
I don't know. I have to look. I haven't even booked the game yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
'cause
got to
guess,
check the prices,
Well, it's just money, Doug.
Initially, you have to have the money to buy it, to pay for them.
Yeah, well, you may have to hold off on a park tool or two.
Yeah, believe it or not, I think I bought the last of my clothes. I really don't really have anything to buy now, unless it's
Yeah.
the PRS-30, and that's the bike stand. That's $900,
Yeah.
and they don't have them in stock. So that's the
Now,
one
aren't
with
you going to go get
a
something
crank.
up there? Aren't you going to go get something up there?
That's what I wanted to get is the PRS-30.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a bike stand. See, it's got a crank on it.
Mhm.
And then it's also, you can use a drill motor on it. So electric bikes are heavy.
Oh, yeah.
So so you put a drill motor on it, it jacks it up for you.
Oh, wow.
But
Well,
yeah,
that's
that's about
definitely something you
$900
could
so.
get from the main factory, no? Or the main place up there?
Yeah, I just anymore I just deal with the main factory
Yeah.
because
'Cause,
for one thing they don't charge me tax.
Yeah. Bicycle World didn't
See,
have it?
because if no, they don't have anything like that. They would have to order it. In that case, I might as well just go ahead and order it.
Yeah.
You know. And not only that is that they would probably have to charge me tax. And if I buy it directly from Park Tool, since Park Tool doesn't have a facility in Texas, they don't charge me tax. So if I buy $100 or $125 worth of tools, I save all that money.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you order from B&H. They don't charge you a sales tax.
Yeah, because they don't have any places. But even if I was there for a long, long time, I was ordering off of Amazon. But first year, I found out that I got burnt a couple times because I ordered something and something else showed up, and I said, "Well, the hell with it." And I looked at the prices. The prices were the same.
Right.
It's like Apple stuff, okay? And so I looked at the prices and I go, "Well, wait a minute. The only reason I was going through Amazon because of the 2-day shipping, and it was still taking 10 days to get down here. Well, I order it from Park Tools directly. I get it within like 3 days,
Oh, wow.
and I don't have to pay tax.
Yeah.
And I know what
Cool.
they got. I mean, when I say I want like a PRS-30, well, yeah, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
Now the other day, I bought a set of digital calipers, okay, and Park Tools, they've been out of digital calipers for 6 months, and I found a website called 365 Bike, and they had the last set, and I got those,
Park Tool
and I got
branded?
them for the same price. Yeah, same
Oh,
thing,
oh, wow.
same price and everything.
Wow.
Okay, and it came in the same box. Everything was the same. But
Yeah.
Park Tools didn't have any. And I asked Park Tool. I said, "Hey, when are you guys going to get this in stock?" And they said they're having trouble with, some battery door on the digital calipers, real tiny little it's got like a clock battery in it.
Right, one of those round
And
ones.
yeah, and they're having trouble with the door. They're having trouble trying to find a vendor for the door.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Not no
yeah,
Chinese. Are they a
yeah.
Chinese
Most of their
product or an
stuff is
American? American.
no, most of their stuff's made in Taiwan.
Oh, it is?
Taiwan, yeah, Taiwan is the electric bike capital of the world. That's where there might be some electric bikes built in China, but the components, they're all built in Taiwan
In
or
Taiwan.
Vietnam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And they have like massive facilities, just huge. And they've been doing it for years.
yeah,
All Trek is there and Giant's there. Giant's got a huge factory in Taiwan
yeah,
under another company called Centaur.
yeah. I used
Okay.
to work for a company that had a big factory in Taiwan. They made the satellite receivers and the cable set-top boxes and the first cable
Yeah.
modems. You know, so
Yeah. They were,
big.
those cheap ass cable modems you got from Spectrum. Back then it
Well,
was,
yeah. I mean, today they're cheap, but back in those days they were Motorola surfboard modems. The very first ones. You know, but
yeah.
now
Yeah.
you get all kinds of crap, right? So
I don't even, they even give them away still. Everybody streams everything.
I don't know. The cable boxes are going away pretty much, right? Have gone away.
Yeah. There's always
The
somebody. There's always grandma and grandpa somewhere. Oh yeah, I need a cable box. And but you know, I mean,
well,
we don't even have we just have YouTube. That's all we use.
yeah,
And
it's the same
Max,
thing here.
YouTube and Max. Yeah,
We've only
YouTube
got
and
the
Max.
internet, and
Yeah,
we stream the other services, right? So,
yeah, yeah.
all
But we've moved
right.
on. You know, but anyway.
So what's going on this week with the cards?
Well, I just one more thing. I've passed over the 500-mile mark on my e-bike this
Oh, you
month.
did?
So now and I did 17 miles tonight. So now I'm at 517 with 2 more days to go. So I should
Wow.
end up with maybe around 550, 550, 560.
Yeah, and that's just for the month.
That's just for the month. I usually average around 525 a month.
Oh, wow.
And 23,000. Yeah, it comes on the Apple Watch. They
Yeah,
have a deal on there for health, and it tells you how far you've ridden and how many calories you burn and how many hours you spend on the bike, all that good stuff. And
yeah.
I usually around 23,000 calories a month.
Wow. I need to get myself
Yeah,
one of those so when I go to the gym, I can keep track of all that
you
stuff.
should. You should.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah. It'll make Tim Apple proud.
they could use the money.
I just don't want to be one of his health stories though. You know.
Oh, that's
Def
coming up. The Apple event will probably be the 9th of September. So
Yeah, that's right. September's coming. Yeah, September's coming.
just kind of
All
curious.
right.
I got a foldable phone this year.
Yeah. So what's going on
That's
with
the
the
rumor.
cards?
We suck.
Oh gosh.
You, yeah, we're getting beat again tonight. We're playing Miami tonight. We're getting beat
Yeah.
nothing. Um, there have been some changes. Our starting pitching really, really, really bad. But the only pitcher that's done any used to be, Sonny, Sonny, what's his name, and now he's getting banged around. And Palante pitched pretty good last night, and Levitar didn't pitch that bad. But we don't have, the trouble with the Cardinals, we really don't have anybody that we can count on to hit us a 3-run homer in the seventh or eighth inning.
Yeah.
Okay, we just have a bunch of single hitters, double hitters, and they're not hitting very well. Burleson and Donovan, they come through just about every night, but they can't carry the team by themselves. And Mason Wynn, he's doing okay, and but matter of fact, we put our DH, Ivan Herrera, he come off the DL and he was a DH, and they put him out in left field. He's playing left field now.
Yeah.
In order to get some punch. So, it's just one of those years that, we're probably going to be a seller at the trading deadline. And then we can talk about that later or whenever you want to talk about that.
Cool.
But overall, I don't think we're even in contention for the wild card race unless we
Yeah.
all of a sudden we get hot. And they're going to start after the trade deadline, and they'll start bringing up the kids from Memphis.
Yeah.
And I think this kid that signed for us, Willahoyt, and he was signed as a player last year, and he's been through Double A, and now he's in Triple A, and he's lighting up the league in Triple A. So they'll probably end up bringing him up, and I wouldn't be surprised they set Arenado down for the rest of the year, and then just bring that kid up and let him play third base.
Yeah. Well,
Even though
definitely
Arenado, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Arenado's still a premier third baseman defensively.
Right. You think
He's
they're
not
still going
hitting.
to?
He's hitting like
Is he still under contract?
they're going to. Yeah, he's got one more year in his contract, so they're going to. Like I said, like we previously alluded to, is that he's not going anywhere unless he wants to. He's got a new trade clause.
Yeah, because apparently
Last,
a few months back there were some rumors he was going to Houston, right?
yeah, he didn't want to go to Houston. Period.
Right.
He just didn't want to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he was going to go to Boston, and then they thought he was going to go to the Dodgers because he's from the Los Angeles area,
Right.
and he went to high school it's just a few blocks away from the Dodger Stadium, and that's where he lives. And but that deal didn't go through, and so I think the latest I saw that he might be going to um, Yankees, somebody like that, over
Yeah.
in the American League.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah. So anyway,
All right. Well.
he's going to be
Yeah.
pitching. Is just terrible. We've got Michaelis. He's long in the tooth. He'll be gone after this season. And then we already cut Eric Fetty. Eric Fetty we picked up on a trade last year. We traded Tommy Edman. He moved on to the Dodgers and was most valuable player in the playoffs for the Dodgers in the World Series win. And then he's Tommy Edman was great fan favorite in St. Louis, and they traded him away for this Eric Fetty guy. And he pitched a little bit last year, did okay, but then this year he's just terrible. And
Yeah.
they just gave him they DFA'd him, designated for assignment.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that status in a little bit, so you could explain this when we get to the Astros here. But
Okay.
as you see on the screen, they're still in first place in their division with 60 wins and 46 losses. But the question still begs: have they lost their mojo? And the reason we ask that is they haven't done very well since they played the Dodgers. Right? They've lost a couple of games to the Rangers. Then they played the Mariners and they lost like 2 games out of the 3. They won the last one. Then they played the Diamondbacks and, they won those games. But then, the Athletics beat them. And I thought the Athletics sucked royally, right? I mean, there was
Not
one.
too bad. I mean, they got some good young ball players.
Yeah. I mean, there was one day, which I think was that Friday, July 25th, where the Athletics beat them 15-3, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And they seem to have lost all their games against the Athletics. And I know that they were playing the Nationals. I didn't get the final score, but I don't know if they beat the Nationals or not, you know. But the question begs, have they lost their mojo? Have they been in a weak division? And is their calendar a little tougher the second go around?
Probably a little tougher. I mean, all teams peak and valleys, but are they winning the series or are they losing all three games? That's the question.
Well, in the
Because,
case for the Athletics, they lost 3 games.
they also, yeah.
You know,
A team is, they consider a team valuable if they win the series. They say they always play like a 3 game series.
yeah,
So if they win 2 out of 3 games, that's considered a successful trip.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think
And
they're the team in the entire league that's got like what 19 players on the injury list. I mean, they've got a shitload of people on the
more than
injury
the
list.
Dodgers, more than the Dodgers do.
There is one
But
guy returning. Yeah, yeah,
the good teams, they always figure out a way to win.
that's true. There is
I
one
mean,
guy
there's,
returning.
yeah.
You know, Jacob Melton. You know, he's coming back from the injury list. And Jeremy Pena, apparently,
Okay.
started practicing with the team on Monday, but he starts rehab. But that doesn't mean he'll be back anytime soon. I don't think, right, Doug?
Hey, they're probably sending him down to, they usually down what they do, they send him down to Corpus Christi.
Uh huh.
Okay. And for, that's a good place if, anybody's watching is that if you want to see some major league ball players, just go to Corpus Christi and go to Whataburger Field, and you'll see players like Jeremy Pena on their rehab assignments for a
Yeah.
lot less money. Yeah.
Oh, they get paid less money while on rehab.
No, the tickets are
Oh,
way cheap.
okay, okay. The tickets are
Yeah,
a
the
lot
tickets are
cheaper.
like
Okay.
$3 or $4. I mean, 10, maybe ten
Really?
dollars at the most. You can get a seat behind home plate for maybe $15.
Wow. Be nice if all the games
Right
were
on,
like
just
that,
right.
right? Wow.
Yeah, and Whataburger Field's pretty nice. Got plenty of parking. Parking's free. They got, you've got some parking that up to the stadium that you have to pay for, valet parking, but they have a big parking lot out there that's you can park free, and it's just a small walk, and then you go up to, Corpus, you go up to whatever fit, and, it's not a bad little ballpark. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, I
Been there many
remember.
times.
I remember the last game that I went to, and that was a long time ago. Was when we had the local White Wings here, and went to 1 or 2 games. And of course, I usually when I lived in Houston, I went to the Astros, but that was back in the old Astrodome, right? And
Yeah.
so, and by the way, I don't know if you've seen the latest renditions of what they're going to do with the eighth wonder of the world. The Astrodome was known as the eighth wonder of the world. It's been, you know, shuttered for a long time. Well, now they're planning to rebuild it or redo it for the rodeo. So, uh, it's going to be kind of interesting to see
Oh,
how the Houston Livestock Show and
they have that
Rodeo.
new league. Yeah, they have that new league called the PBR, is it? PBR
I don't
tour.
know. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's a new rodeo league that they've got, and I think it's called PBR,
yeah,
and they got big time sponsors, and they got some live events and stuff. They
yeah.
they seem to be okay.
I mean, I
Yeah,
never enjoyed the games at the Astrodome. Well, first of all, I was a college student, right? So I could only afford the nosebleed sections. It didn't matter whether it was baseball or football when my
yeah.
alma mater, the Cougars played, right? But it was always the nosebleed, so I couldn't afford the expensive seats. But
Well, I
anyway,
remember when they built that stadium when I was a
you do?
kid. They built. Yeah, I remember that. It was a big deal.
Didn't
It was in the mid
Elvis, wasn't
60s.
Elvis the first one to have a concert there or something like that?
Elvis had a concert there and in the 60s, and he had some black backup singers,
Oh,
and they wouldn't let them, and they wouldn't let them in the Astrodome back then to sing backup for Elvis. So Elvis just said, "I'm not going to perform unless I have
wow.
my backup singers." And
Yeah.
they finally capitulated after a while,
Yeah, it's
because
kind
those
of
backup
incredible to
singers have
think,
been with him forever.
it's kind of incredible to think in this day and age that that happened. I was reading about one of the cowboy players who is involved in civil rights back in the 60s died recently. And it talked about the fact he was very influential in convincing Tom Landry, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, to actually allow players to stay in the same room even if they were black and white. I mean, today that's unheard
Yeah.
of, right? But back in those days, I mean, especially if you were in the deep South, right? In a game in the deep South, well,
Well, where Tom Landry came from, right outside of McAllen, right? That was his
yes,
hometown.
mission,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
Mission.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so I mean, he grew up back in the day,
Yeah,
and when he was a player when he played for the Giants.
yeah,
Landry did,
yeah.
and back in the 50s, and he saw a lot of that, and but
It's definitely a
I
different
wouldn't when I
world.
yeah when I heard that about the Elvis deal, that was pretty late too. That was well over the past the Kennedy assassination. That was like 65 or 66.
Yeah.
And I find that I didn't hard to believe that stuff like that still existed, but it did. At
Now,
least it did in the great state of Texas.
was that the thin Elvis or the big Elvis? You know.
Yeah, no, that was the thin Elvis.
Okay.
You know, yeah, he was
Well,
no, he was still
I
making
remember.
movies.
Well, I remember. I mean, I don't remember him other than when, of course, he died right in '77, right? But I used
Yeah,
to own a complete 45 record set of all of
yeah,
his songs, believe it or
yeah,
not. And I regret to this day that I got rid of them, right? Just like I regret getting rid of all my vinyl, right? Try to
yeah.
buy
I
vinyl
mean,
today and it's expensive.
I grew up back in the day when I was a kid. Um, they used to have four songs on a 45. We had
Yeah.
A side and
Oh
B
wow.
side, and
Yeah.
I had an Elvis record that I played all the time, and it was made by RCA Victor, if you
Yeah.
remember that,
I
way back
remember.
when, and it had Hound Dog, Don't Be Cruel on one side, and then it had what happened on the other side? All four on hit.
Yeah.
Return to Sender was on the other side, and another one.
Yeah.
Jailhouse Blues or something like that. But there was four songs on that record.
Yeah, I remember you'd go to the record store and the big thing wasn't just just wasn't the record, but the arts work, right? The artwork on the covers
Yeah,
and stuff like that. But in the
you know,
day
if
of
if you if you
streaming,
if you go to
yeah, go
if you
ahead.
go to Max, there's an excellent documentary on Billy Joel.
Yeah,
Okay, it's a two part documentary. Each of them are like 2.5 hours long, and it all that stuff. He started out in Long Island. As a doo wop singer and all that kind of stuff. And man, there's some songs I'd never heard of, and there's some songs that he came up with, and I didn't know who they were, but now I know they're Billy Joel songs.
well, I was
You know?
reading a couple of days ago this animosity between uh, Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Oh
Uh, you
yeah,
know,
that's
be,
been going on for years. Yeah,
yeah, it's been going on
yeah,
forever. And Daryl
yeah,
Hall's got a streaming show, that he puts out every once in a while with artists, and so
Mm-hmm.
but they've been around forever too, right? So but it's kind of like Dolly. Dolly definitely taught all the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders last year what it meant to be golden. That's for sure.
Dolly's unique. I mean, they say she's going to give everything away when she dies. Well, she really doesn't have anybody.
Right?
She
Didn't
never
her
had any
husband die
children.
already? Didn't her husband
He
die already?
died. He died about a year ago.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so I mean, and so and most her siblings are either gone or she doesn't talk to them, or I don't know what the whole story is. But she's worth. She's a pretty wealthy woman, but you know. That's
Yeah.
the reason why they asked her about the AI stuff. She worried about AI people taking an image of herself, and she goes, "Nope, don't really care. I won't be around, and I want people to remember me forever."
Well, a little bit of bad news, and I want to talk a little about this because I don't know what this means, but this John Singleton, first baseman, has been put on assignment. So could you kind of give us this guy's been around for a long time, by the way, since like
God, yes.
2009. But
I thought he
he's
was
been
gone a long
on,
time ago.
well, he's been gone, come back, gone, come back, and now it appears he's gone. So what does this term assignment mean?
Yeah, the short term is called DFA, and it's
Yeah.
called designated for assignment. Okay, so what happens is that the team and the Cardinals had just had this Eric Fetty guy. He got DFA'd the other day, and what they do is they cut ties with you, and what they do is they put you on the waiver line. There's a
Okay.
like a there's a like a seek. There's back in the days actually, way back when they usually had when they had telegraph. They usually had waivers, okay, but now it's they call it the waiver line, and so you're on the waiver line, and it's like a super secret deal. Only the general managers know who's on the waiver line,
Mm.
okay, and so what they do is they throw a guy out there, and they try to make it so if you don't want the player anymore, they designate for assignment. Okay, the player has the team has a certain amount of time. I think it's like a week for them to clear waivers, and then the player can go out and make his own deal
Ah,
and get out of the contract.
ah.
Okay, so that's pretty common for players that are on the way down. And this John Singleton, God, I thought he'd quit playing years ago. And how old is he? He's in his 40s. Does it say his
Very
date of birth?
close. I think he was like 38 or 39. I,
Okay,
I yeah.
and yeah, a lot of teams, they have a hole to fill, a temporary hole, and they sign somebody to fill that hole, and then when that person comes off the DL, well, then they DFA the ball player, and and
Now,
then the players and
is it common for these guys to come and go? I mean, this guy's had like luck, you know.
yeah, it's very common if a player if they don't want you, if the team they get cut up, they have a roster spot open, and there's only so many roster spots, okay, and
Right.
so if they don't need your services anymore, what they do is they throw you out there on the waiver line, and if you're not picked up by a team, so if you get picked up by a team, okay, they can make a trade for you.
Yeah.
So okay, and if you don't, if you clear waivers, well, then you can go anywhere you want to.
Yeah. Now, what caught my
Okay,
attention
and
is that he even played in something called the Mexican League. What is that? I've
oh
never heard of
yeah,
the Mexican
there's a
League.
league. There's a couple leagues over in Mexico.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot
really?
of ball players. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of players. Usually on the way down, the major league players on the way down
Yeah.
they end up over in the Mexican League.
Wow.
Every once in a while, the best case of the Mexican League ball player is probably Fernando Valenzuela.
Yeah.
That was back in the '80s. He played for years in the Mexican League, and then the Dodgers brought him up, and then the rest is history.
Right.
Hall of Fame pitcher of Venezuela, and there's been some other players like that they, but most of them, and sometimes you get some young ball players, but most of the time it's usually the players are on the way down. They're at the end of the
Yeah.
career. They want to hang on a little bit, thinking that they can work their way back up to the majors.
Yeah. Well, this guy came and went, and now he's back at it. And the one that announced the news was his wife. I think on social media or something like that. I think on
And
X.
oh, they DFA'd him.
All they said is he was on for assignment. Whatever
Okay, they
that.
released him for assignment. So
Yeah.
yeah, so he's out. He cleared waivers, and so now he's out to look for another job,
Yeah.
whatever that may be. He might end up in Japan if he hasn't worked over the head. I'm surprised he hasn't been over Japan or Korea.
Yeah. So
But he may call
well,
it. He may call it quits.
he may. He may not need the money.
I don't
So
think he. Yeah, he had a couple good years. I remember he used to play for like Toronto and those, something like that.
yeah.
I think. Yeah, he had a couple good years, I think. But like I said, I thought he quit playing a long time ago.
Well, he's been coming and going. You know, he's kind of like
Yeah, they.
a few of the old work buddies that we knew back in our day.
Yeah, we were talking
Okay.
about that. Yeah, funny is you're talking about that today. Because all these BPs and stuff, they all kind of like they're in a circle. They go from one company to the other.
Right.
They all know
Right.
each other and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Aerospace was the same way.
yeah. Yeah, every company's like that.
I
So
had I had a boss when I worked for Northrop. He had a saying that aerospace is like a trash can. Who's ever on the top of this program will be on the bottom of the next.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, definitely the Astros are playing the Nationals, I think, tonight. I haven't tuned in to see where they're at. And then they've got another game tomorrow. Well, so they're at 60 wins, 40 losses. We'll see how it goes, but it looks like
Nationals got a pretty decent team. I mean, they're a young ball club. They got some talent on that team. Maybe next year might do something.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but they're in a tough division. They're in there with the Mets and Philly, so that's tough. That's a tough division.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to mention for everybody out there is that we encourage everybody to go out to the YouTube channels, not only Brownsville Tech Live and 956, but even Doug's channel, E-Trek, E-Bike Trek, right? And
E-bike trek.
E-Bike Trek. So we encourage people to go out there and become a subscriber. Just don't go out there and watch our videos, but become a subscriber. And when you do
And leave
that,
some comments.
and leave some comments, right?
Yeah.
When you do that, you'll get notifications when, we come online. When Doug is out there on his e-bike, you'll get notifications as well. So please go out there and subscribe on YouTube. And at the same time, for Brownsville Tech Live and 956, follow on Facebook as well. So I just wanted to mention that. I know the ticker down there is ticking away. Let's go ahead and go over to the standings here. Just let me get rid of this other screen while I get our virtual iPhone back up and running here for a second. Let's see here. Give me a second. Come on. Come on. Kick in. You have to restart this thing. Really? You have to start the AirPlay. Yeah. Give me a second here. I'm going to have to start the AirPlay receiver. Let's go back and restart it. Sometimes that happens. It usually expects when I turn it on for you to connect right away. Okay, we'll try again. Let's see if it kicks in this time. Come on, kick in. There we go. All right. There we go. Now we're back. All right. So in the standings, the American League East, Toronto is ahead of the Yankees now. What's up with that, Doug?
What was that again? I didn't.
Toronto,
you cut out.
Yeah, Toronto's ahead of the Yankees in the American League East.
Well, the Yankees have had some injuries. You know, Aaron Judge is on the DL. Okay. Now, they picked up third baseman the other day, but Toronto's been on fire. You know, Vlad got that new contract, and he's been, they got healthy. You know, I think Bichette's playing and Vlad's playing every day, and the guy that used to play for the Astros, the center field, what was his name?
I can't
Singleton,
remember.
not Singleton, but I forget.
No, what's in Singleton?
Yeah, somebody I forget. Anyway, and they're on fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Well,
Yankees,
Boston's...
Aaron Judge, they,
Yeah.
that's a big deal out their offense.
That's right. Yeah, definitely. But King Kong.
The King Kong. They're
And
looking
of course,
for pitching
Boston's in third.
That surprised me. Yeah.
Did you expect them to do better?
I didn't think they'd do that good.
Oh, you didn't think they'd do that? You think they'd be...
No.
Baltimore's at the bottom.
That's a big surprise of the year right there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not even batting 500. They're not even
playing 500 ball.
Nope. And then the American League Central, you've got the Tigers. Detroit, they're on top of their league.
Hanging in there. They're hanging in there.
And then you've got Cleveland right behind them. The old
Cleveland. So it looks like it's going to be between Cleveland and Detroit. Kansas City's going to be out of it.
Now it's to be determined whether they're going to come back as the Indians or remain as the Guardians. President Trump is actively pushing for for those old mascot names, to be returned.
When the company we used to work for, there was a guy that lived up in New York, and he was a lifelong Washington Redskin fan.
Yeah.
And he had a big tattoo on his arm, Washington Redskins.
Oh wow.
Okay. And he was one of these quality sorting companies, something would go wrong. We had to contact these guys and they'd come in and sort the parts, and he was like the manager of that. And this guy had a big Washington Redskin, and he was a big Washington Redskins fan. So I always wondered what he did about his tattoo. Left it on there, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I think it's pretty painful for them to take it off. At least,
even though we have a friend that he's specializing on tattoo removals now.
Oh,
he has
really?
a business down here. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that stuff, came and went, right? You had, in my day when we were in high school, that wasn't popular. That wasn't popular at all.
That was the scumbags that
right.
had the tattoos, yeah.
And then somewhere along the line, then they became popular. And now we're back to them not being popular. A lot of young kids, are not even opting for that, right? So
yeah,
it kind of comes and goes. But I've seen videos online of how that tattoo removal happens, and it looks pretty painful. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
laser, you know.
Yeah.
So, but that would suck
Yeah.
royally to have a Redskins tattoo. Then they
Our
changed it to
our
the
daughter's got
Commanders.
our daughter's got our I don't like tattoos. Our daughter's got a tattoo on her ankle.
Yeah.
Okay, and she did that when she was living with us, and I gave her a hard time about it, and I said, Taylor, it looks fine when you're 18 years old and you have your nice firm body, but you get to be 70 years old, it ain't gonna look so good. It's gonna be all
No.
wrinkled up and stuff. Yeah, and she
No.
is. Well,
Yeah.
you'll be dead anyway, Daddy, so you won't have to look at it. That's what she said.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, the Guardians are in second place, followed by Kansas City, and then Minnesota. They're in fourth place, Doug.
Yeah, they fell hard. They're falling hard.
Yeah.
That's kind of good. I didn't know what Minnesota's doing. Might get some cheap tickets in August
You
because
may.
they're going to be out. Yeah, they'll be out of the race.
Yeah. And then you've got the White Sox. They're at the bottom. You know.
Well, the White
And
Sox are rebuilding once again.
yeah. And of course, as we mentioned previously, the Houston Astros, they're in first place in the AL West, followed by, I believe, Seattle, which is second, and right behind them are the Rangers, right? And the Angels are in fourth, and the Athletics are in fifth, you know, which kind of makes you wonder why Houston has had such a hard time with them, you know.
Yeah, I guess I saw a report today that Mike Trout of the Angels, he might be at the end of the line
Yeah, yeah,
because of all the injuries. I guess he can't play defense anymore, and he's always getting hurt,
yeah.
and it's a shame. He's still pretty young, but his is giving out on him.
Yeah. And then, of course, in the National League East, the Mets are on top. I bet Bill O'Reilly's happy about that. And then, of course, the
Oh yeah,
Phillies are right behind them. And then 10 games out, you've got Miami, and Atlanta is fourth. Talking about a team that really lost their mojo. And of course, the Nationals, they're last in that. Is that? Yeah, it is the Nationals. Yeah, Nationals.
yeah. The Atlanta got old, and they lost some stars to free agent, and they're and they kind of rated in order to stay in contention all these years. They traded away a lot of minor league ball players, in order to get some people in there for the stretch drives. So it's finally catching up to them.
Yeah. And then the National League Central looks like Chicago is dropped to second place. They're behind Milwaukee, 3 games.
I still don't think Milwaukee, I just don't think Milwaukee's got the team, but I guess they're playing good ball, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The Cubs were playing a little bit better than what they should have.
Yeah.
But Milwaukee, everybody kind of thought Milwaukee was going to be in there by the end of the year.
And then you've got Cincinnati, and of course your Redbirds, Doug, in fourth place.
Yep,
Yep.
I think that's where it's going to be the rest of the year. I think.
Yeah. As long as you don't drop to
I don't.
last.
Well, then we get a good draft pick then.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
Pittsburgh right now appears to be last in that division.
yeah.
And the Dodgers are back on top. I think they were behind earlier. They're back up. They're that's what, 4 games ahead of San Diego. Yeah.
Yeah, San Diego was in St. Louis over the weekend. I mean, they beat us I think we played 3-game series, 4-game series, and they beat us 3 times. But I was not. They were not too overpowering
Yeah.
than I thought they were.
And then you've got the Giants in third,
Yeah,
followed by Arizona, and of course the Rockies are in last. I'm
we had
not
a
sure.
hard time
Oh
with the
yeah,
Rockies.
the worst team in baseball by the looks of it.
Yeah, we had a hard time with the Rockies in Colorado last week.
Were they
We beat
games
them,
in?
but
Yeah, were they games over there or over?
yeah, we beat them a couple times, but that we should have just hammered them.
Maybe it was the thin mountain air.
Could be,
I mean,
could be.
in my few times going over to Denver, I didn't have any problems with breathing, but I was a lot younger back then. I think I'd have a problem now,
Yeah.
you know. But that's pretty much it with regards to all the standings. Anything else, Doug, you want to mention?
Well, yeah, trading deadline's going to be July 31st, so expect some movement. There's going to be some buyers and sellers. The
Yeah.
sellers, I mean, the buyers will probably be the Yankees, the Dodgers, maybe even Astros. Okay, and the Mets. I hear the Phillies are looking for some people. Okay, and the sellers will probably be Cardinals and Baltimore, teams like that. They do this every year. Baltimore picked up a lot of payroll over the winter, thinking they were going to be a contender. So they're going to be wanting to, they're going to be wanting to drop that payroll, and there's going to be some teams that going to pick up a couple of those players for the stretch drive. Cardinals, I think they're going to probably, you know, they're going to try to trade Arenado, but like I said, he's on a no trade clause, so I don't think that's going to happen. Uh, for the Cardinals, I think maybe Steven Matz, a pitcher, and this guy named Phil Maton, and maybe closer Helsley. He may be going because Helsley's on his walk year of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is Matz, and so is Maton, and Maton and Matz has pitched exceptionally well. So I would not be surprised to see both them gone, and if we can get some good ball players,
Well, we definitely
maybe Lars Newbar too.
well, we definitely should know by next week, right?
Yeah, we know by what, Friday?
Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be all kinds of news.
Yeah.
They usually go up to the last minute like anything else, and then there'll be a flurry of activity,
Yeah.
and then we'll see how the dust settles Saturday morning.
All right.
But I think there'll be a lot of action going on. The teams that are contending, like I said, the Yankees and the Dodgers and Astros and the Mets and the Phillies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Well, everybody, this was it for episode number 6. Once again, don't forget to go out there and subscribe to Brownsville Tech Live, 956 Live, and E-Bike Trek, which is Doug's channel. Be sure to not just follow and watch, but also subscribe. It's very important that you do that.
And make some comments
And make some comments along the way.
because that drives the algorithm. That drives the algorithm.
That's right. That's right. And so the benefit is you'll know when we come on. We usually advertise about a couple of days before, but if you're a subscriber, you'll be able to keep up with everything that we're posting, online. So, all righty, Doug. Well, that's it.
Okay.
We'll see you all next week. Doug, have a great weekend and hope you get some biking done. And hopefully you'll get some cool weather next week to enjoy the bike even more.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I can do some stuff out in the garage. There's some stuff out in the garage I want to do, but it's like I got a thermometer out there and I go out there, it's like 97 degrees, 98
I
degrees
know
out there.
it's hot.
And that's with the fans on. And, you know, maybe I can do some stuff out there and that'd be kind of nice,
Yep,
you know.
definitely.
Yeah. Yep.
Alrighty, everybody. Well, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week. Doug,
So
have a
long,
great evening.
everybody. See you next week. Okay.
Alrighty.
So long, everybody. Bye
Yep.
bye.
Bye bye.